fire. Don't let anyone tell me otherwise, baby. That's right, girl. We'll be fine, whatever we'll be, and you ought to know by now. But your fears will be the same no matter where we're from.
Jazz. Love it. Hate it. You just can't shut up. It. Can you? Hiya. So we're at the 3 o'clock point on the lake today. Behind me are the geese. And why? Because there's this cloud here. Look at that. That is lovely. There's another smaller one just over there. So, but you know, they look great. So let's bring the big one back into focus again. Look at that. And a lovely bit of reflection on the lake. So jazz, yeah. I've heard people say, I don't like jazz. And when I hear it, it's a bit like hearing someone say, I don't like shoes. You know, it's like jazz is a broad church. There's a lot of it, and there's a lot of different kinds of it. And the best analogy I can find is people ask me to recommend therapists and types of therapy. You know, and my advice to them is always, if you can afford it, to book 5 or more introductory therapy sessions with therapists, because not every therapist is right for you. Also, a bit like in jazz, there are a lot of people who are qualified to do it who aren't very good at it. They're very good musicians, but they just aren't good at jazz. That will make sense mainly to other musicians, but you know who I mean, you know. So you all know some. Oh, it's just like, yeah, you're very good, but it doesn't make you feel anything. And so, you know, that's the similarity with therapists, is that they're all qualified, but they're not all great. So where does the jazz come from, Trev? I'm glad you asked, and that's why I put my explaining things hat on. My musician friends, no need to watch this bit, but here is my early in the morning explainer about where the jazz comes from. Okay, so you know that there's the riff. That's the bit you can remember and you always come back to. Okay. Everything that happens in between coming back to it is the jazz. All right. So what happens is that the musicians on the stage or in the studio will make stuff up that fits within those rules, probably bends them a bit, might even break them, but, you know, will return to them. And they're making stuff up that they think sounds cool in the moment. Like, you know, some of it they'll repeat from previous things that they've tried that are cool in the moment and always work. But most are actually pushing themselves each time to do something unique, something special, something that adds something to what's going on. And that's dependent on a couple of things. The groove and the feel and what's going on with the band on stage. But many times it's also to do with the audience. That's the audience's role. You know, there's a massive difference between playing to 2 men and a dog in Carlisle, as I have done, and also to playing to a couple of thousand people in a dedicated music venue who've actually paid money to come and see you specifically, and who are up for whatever you're doing and hold you in their arms and allow you to do anything. And that feeling, by the way, is what we all chase. It's better than any drug. You know, the times that it's happened are rare, but when it's on, there's a heat that you feel from an audience, and you feel it on the stage, and you're looking at each other, and it's like, we're on. You know, this is it. This is where we cook. And a big part of that then is that the solos are influenced. People feel more inspired. People get on it. They really want to do something special. There are musicians who do that every time they pick up their instrument. They're amazing, you know. But for most players, it's capturing lightning in a bottle, you know. It's really is amazing, and that's what the cool thing about jazz is. Not just for musicians, but for people listening to it. Once they understand how it works, and once they understand what's trying to be achieved, they can get really into it. You don't have to be a musician, and you don't have to be a connoisseur, and you don't have to be a music snob, especially not. Don't be a music snob about it. There's nothing better or worse about jazz or people who like jazz over other forms of music. That, you know, but you'll meet them. Yeah, they're usually wearing a cardigan with the leather elbow patches already sewn in. You know, and they'll want to talk to you about obscure people. So, but you know, they're cool too. They're enjoying music. And that's what jazz is. It's just a kind of music. It's nothing special. And you just, like with therapists, you have to find the one that grooves you. You have to find the one that chimes with you, you know. And it exists. Believe me, it really exists. Okay, back to the lake. So, some jazz does not require you to be an aficionado or an expert or a connoisseur. Some of it is just sublime. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story now that goes to that year I did at college, where I actually spent most of my time in the music department, because that's where I wanted to be. And the music department at this college was quite unusual. Everyone was doing music A level, so everyone in it was, you know, good, qualified, done exams and stuff like that. But it was a feeder for Leeds University, Bretton Hall, as opposed to the Royal Northern. The Royal Northern College of Music provided orchestral players and, you know, people who went on to work in that kind of genre. But Leeds University was for those who were into a career in contemporary music or jazz. It was the Jazzers University, and so their teachers tended to be gigging musicians, and they had guest teachers who were, you know, kind of legends in their areas, guys like Gary Boyle. So Tameside College teachers were also pretty hep cats, you know. A brilliant guitar player and teacher called James Burkett, who I remember very fondly, who once called me a vandal, which is a jazz term meaning, you know, very good. Remains the greatest compliment I've ever had. And I remember going into one of their early lectures, and it was in the biggest room they had, and they closed the curtains and wheeled out a telly with a VHS recorder, as we used to do, and without any introduction they just pressed play, and it was a band called Weather Report, live on the Old Grey Whistle Test. And about halfway through it, you realise that this is a level of musicianship that A, doesn't require you to be a musician to witness and feel, but also that is the supernatural. That there was a telepathy. There was something other than just playing a song going on. You know. Now, for those who don't understand the basics of jazz or even rock music for that matter, you know, when guitar solos come in, what's happening is that a riff has been established, the bit that you can always go back to, and that sets a whole bunch of rules. They can be bent and broken, but, you know, it kind of gives you somewhere to go from to and return to. So Weather Report's most famous one is Birdland. Most people will know it. da, 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 da. Probably been used on an advert for something shit like insurance. So that, but what happened to that room, I think, and I don't know if this was the intention of the teachers, but it was like, okay, you're all the best trumpet player in your town, the best whatever player, you know, that you know or that your friends know, and you're all good enough to get into this college and aspire to going to Bretton Hall. Yeah. This is how far away from good you are. Weather report. And it's a galactic distance. So I think a lot of them felt humbled by it, and many of them felt inspired by it, but all of them were awed by it. And as such, it was a brilliant lesson to watch. And you know, maybe a bit harsh for some, I don't know. I don't think anyone dropped out because of it, you know, I don't think, but musicians will tell you sometimes when they come across a great player or a great tune, you know, it made me want to cut my fingers off. It's like, why do I even bother? And that is a great thing to feel, because it means you still give a shit, and that's a good thing. So anyway, that's it for today. Hope you enjoyed it. I love you all. Bye.
Yeah.